The gateway to inner worlds, emotional opening and the mystery of sleep. Welcome. Pause for a moment. Right now, in this very instant, close your eyes and breathe deeply. Feel the weight of your body settling into wherever you are. The world outside continues its endless motion, but here, in this space we share, time moves differently. Everything slows. Everything becomes possible. Have you ever truly wondered what happens when you close your eyes at night? Not the simple answer you learned in school, but the profound, intricate dance that unfolds within the architecture of your mind. Every single night, without fail, your brain embarks on one of the most extraordinary journeys known to consciousness. It is a voyage so magnificent, so perfectly orchestrated, that it rivals any adventure written in literature or imagined in dreams. Yet most of us drift into sleep without ever considering the miracle occurring within the darkness. Before we begin this exploration together, I invite you to subscribe to the Relaxing Science channel. Give this video a like, and if you feel moved, share your location and the time where you are listening from. This simple act of connection helps us understand where our community rests, where they find peace, and what hour of the day calls them toward deeper understanding. Your participation transforms this from a monologue into a conversation, from information into communion. Tonight, we embark on a journey through the neural landscape of sleep. We will travel through the electrical highways of your brain, witness the transformation of consciousness as it shifts from wakefulness into dreams, and discover how billions of neurons work in perfect harmony to restore you, to heal you, to make you whole again. This is not merely a scientific explanation. This is an invitation to understand the poetry written in your brain every single night. This is a celebration of the invisible miracle that sustains your very existence. Sleep is often dismissed as downtime, as mere inactivity, as the hours when nothing important happens. How wrong this assumption proves to be. During sleep, your brain is not resting. It is working with such intensity, such purpose, such exquisite coordination, that if we could see it in real time, we would stand in awe. Neurons fire in precise patterns. Chemicals dance through synaptic spaces. Memories are sorted, filed, and integrated into the vast library of your lived experience. Your body repairs itself at the cellular level. Your immune system strengthens. Your emotional resilience rebuilds. Toxins accumulated during waking hours are flushed away by a system so elegant that neuroscientists only recently discovered it. This video is designed for those moments when you need to understand yourself more deeply. Perhaps you struggle with sleep and seek to comprehend why. Perhaps you simply wish to appreciate the gift of rest that comes each evening. Perhaps you are curious about the science that underlies one of humanity's greatest mysteries. Wherever you find yourself, this journey will meet you there. Throughout our exploration, we will move from the concrete to the poetic, from the measurable to the felt. We will learn how your neurons speak to one another in an electrical language billions of years old. We will discover the different stages of sleep, each one serving a unique purpose in the symphony of your restoration. We will understand how memories transform during sleep, how emotions are processed and balanced, how your brain quite literally rewires itself each night. And we will do all of this while maintaining a sense of wonder, a sense of reverence for the complexity that emerges from simplicity. The brain contains approximately 86 billion neurons. Let that number settle into your consciousness for a moment. 86 billion. Each one of these neurons is connected to thousands of others, creating a network so intricate that it makes the most complex computer system seem primitive by comparison. And every single night when you sleep, these 86 billion neurons begin a coordinated dance that has been refined through millions of years of evolution. They do not compete. They do not work against one another. Instead, they move in waves of activity and silence, creating rhythms that are as beautiful and precise as any symphony ever composed. What makes sleep so essential is not simply the rest it provides. Sleep is active restoration. Sleep is the time when your brain consolidates what you have learned, transforms experiences into lasting memories, and reorganizes itself in preparation for the next day. Without sleep, you would not merely be tired, you would gradually lose your ability to learn, to remember, to regulate your emotions, to maintain your physical health. Sleep is not a luxury. Sleep is as fundamental to your survival as food and water. As we move through this experience together, you may find yourself becoming drowsy. This is perfectly natural. In fact, this is exactly what we hope for. This video is designed to guide your mind toward the gentle threshold where wakefulness begins to fade and sleep begins to call. There is no pressure to stay awake. There is no requirement to absorb every word perfectly. Instead, allow yourself to sink into the rhythm of this narrative. Let your eyes grow heavy if they wish. Let your breathing slow. Let your body signal what it needs. The journey we are about to take is one that your own brain makes every night. Yet most of us never truly witness it. We simply fall asleep and wake up, unaware of the extraordinary processes occurring in the darkness. By understanding these processes, by becoming conscious of what happens when consciousness fades, we develop a deeper appreciation for ourselves. We begin to see sleep not as an interruption in life, but as an essential part of living fully. We recognize that the time we spend asleep is not time lost, but time invested in our own wellness and wholeness. So settle in. Find a comfortable position. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Let your jaw relax. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feel the ground beneath you. Feel the support of whatever surface holds you. You are safe, you are held. And now let us begin to explore the magnificent world that awakens within you when you fall asleep. The electrical language of your brain. Understanding neural basics. Within your skull exists a universe so vast and intricate that we have barely begun to map its territories. This universe speaks in a language of electricity and chemistry, a language that has evolved over millions of years to accomplish tasks of staggering complexity. To understand sleep, we must first understand the basic vocabulary of this language. We must learn how neurons communicate, how they transmit information, and how they create the phenomenon we experience as consciousness itself. A neuron is a cell, but it is a cell with extraordinary capabilities. Unlike most cells in your body, which are relatively compact and self-contained, a neuron is designed specifically for connection and communication. It has a central body, called the soma, from which extend long branching arms called dendrites. These dendrites receive signals from other neurons. The neuron also has a single long projection called the axon, which sends signals out to other neurons. Some axons are microscopically short, connecting neighboring neurons. Other axons are remarkably long, stretching from the base of your brain down the length of your spinal cord. This architecture is not random. It is perfectly designed for the work that neurons must accomplish. When a neuron becomes active, something extraordinary happens. The electrical properties of its membrane change. Ions flow across the cellular boundary. Positive and negative charges shift and rebalance. This creates an electrical impulse called an action potential. This impulse travels down the axon like a wave of electricity racing along a wire. When this electrical signal reaches the end of the axon, it arrives at a small gap called a synapse. Here, the electrical language transforms into a chemical one. The synapse is a space of breathtaking smallness, measuring only about 20 billionths of a meter across. Yet within this infinitesimal gap, something profound occurs. When the electrical impulse reaches the end of the axon, it triggers the release of chemical messengers called neurotransmitters. These molecules are like letters, written in a chemical alphabet. They float across the synaptic gap and bind to receptors on the receiving neuron's dendrites. These receptors are like locks, and the neurotransmitters are like keys. When the correct key fits into the correct lock, it opens the door to new electrical activity in the receiving neuron. This cascade of electrical signals and chemical messages is how your brain thinks, feels, remembers, and dreams. The most remarkable aspect of this system is its flexibility. The strength of connections between neurons can change. If two neurons fire together repeatedly, the connection between them strengthens. This is the basis of learning. This is how experience physically alters your brain. Every time you learn something new, every time you practice a skill, every time you have a meaningful conversation or experience something beautiful, the connections in your brain are being reshaped. Your brain is literally becoming a different physical organ. This property of the brain is called neuroplasticity, and it is one of the most beautiful discoveries in neuroscience. During wakefulness, your brain operates in a state of relative excitement. Neurons are firing rapidly, Connections are being made and broken. Information is flowing in from your senses. Your attention is directed outward toward the world. But as evening approaches, as the sun sets and darkness falls, something begins to shift. The chemical composition of your brain changes. Certain neurotransmitters begin to decrease, while others begin to increase. Your neurons gradually begin to transition from the rapid-fire communication of wakefulness to the slower, more synchronized patterns of sleep. This transition does not happen suddenly. It is not like flipping a switch. Instead, it is more like the gradual dimming of lights in a theater. Some neurons begin to slow their firing rate, while others continue at their daytime pace. Different regions of your brain begin to coordinate their activity in new ways. The electrical patterns that appear on an electroencephalogram, or EEG, begin to show characteristic changes. These changes are the signatures of sleep, beginning to claim your consciousness. One of the fundamental changes that occurs is that neurons begin to fire together in synchronized waves. During wakefulness, neurons throughout your brain fire somewhat independently, each responding to its own inputs and creating its own patterns. But during sleep, neurons begin to fire in coordination. Large populations of neurons will activate together, then fall silent together, then activate again. This synchronization is crucial to the restorative functions of sleep. It allows the brain to accomplish tasks that require the coordinated activity of many neurons across different regions. The electrical language of your brain also includes something called oscillations or brainwaves. These are patterns of electrical activity that repeat at regular intervals. Different frequencies of oscillation are associated with different states of consciousness and different types of neural activity. Beta waves, which oscillate at relatively high frequencies, are associated with focused attention and active thinking. Alpha waves, which oscillate at medium frequencies, appear when you are relaxed but still alert. Theta waves, which oscillate at lower frequencies, appear during drowsiness and dreaming. Delta waves, which oscillate at the lowest frequencies, appear during deep sleep. These are not just abstract patterns. They represent actual changes in how neurons are firing throughout your brain. What is particularly fascinating is that these different brainwave patterns are not random. They emerge naturally from the properties of neurons themselves and the way they are connected. A neuron does not need to receive instructions to synchronize with other neurons. The synchronization emerges spontaneously from the dynamics of the system. This is an example of what scientists call emergent properties. Complex patterns arise from simple rules applied by billions of individual components. Your consciousness itself is an emergent property of this kind. It arises from the coordinated activity of neurons, yet it cannot be found in any single neuron or even in any specific region of the brain. It emerges from the whole system working in harmony. Understanding this basic architecture and language of the brain is essential to understanding sleep. Sleep is not a single state, but a collection of states, each one characterized by particular patterns of neural activity. Each state serves different functions. Each state involves different neurotransmitters, different brainwave patterns, different levels of consciousness. By learning to recognize these patterns, by understanding what they represent and what they accomplish, we gain insight into the profound transformation that occurs each night when we surrender to sleep. Wakefulness and the dance of alertness, how neurons keep you conscious. The morning arrives and your eyes open, consciousness floods in like light through a window. You become aware of your body, your surroundings, your thoughts. This shift from sleep to wakefulness is so familiar that we rarely pause to consider what is actually happening in your brain during this transition. Yet this shift represents one of the most profound transformations in neurobiology. In a matter of minutes, your brain transitions from a state of sleeping consciousness to a state of waking consciousness. This transformation is not a simple on-off switch. It is an elegant orchestration involving multiple brain systems, numerous neurotransmitters, and carefully timed changes in electrical activity. During wakefulness, your brain operates in what we might call a state of heightened readiness. Multiple brain regions are active simultaneously. Your sensory systems are fully engaged, feeding information about the world into your brain at a constant rate. Your motor systems are prepared to act. Your emotional centers are responsive to stimuli. Your prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for planning, decision-making, and impulse control is actively engaged. All of this activity requires energy. In fact, your brain consumes about 20% of your body's total energy supply, despite being only about 2% of your body's weight. During wakefulness, this energy consumption is at its peak. The maintenance of wakefulness depends critically on a neurotransmitter called norepinephrine. This chemical messenger is produced by a small structure deep in the brainstem called the locus coeruleus. During wakefulness, neurons in the locus coeruleus fire at a relatively steady rate, releasing norepinephrine throughout the brain. This neurotransmitter acts like a volume dial, increasing the responsiveness of neurons throughout the cortex and other brain regions. When norepinephrine levels are high, neurons respond more readily to incoming signals. They fire more easily. They communicate more vigorously with one another. This heightened responsiveness is what allows you to be alert, to focus attention, to process information rapidly. Another crucial neurotransmitter for maintaining wakefulness is dopamine. This chemical is produced in several brain regions, including the ventral tegmental area and the substantia nigra. Dopamine serves many functions, but one of its key roles during wakefulness is to maintain motivation and drive. Dopamine makes things interesting. It makes you want to pay attention. It makes goals seem worth pursuing. When dopamine levels are low, you feel unmotivated and fatigued, even if you have had plenty of sleep. When dopamine levels are optimal, you feel energized and engaged with life. Acetylcholine is another critical neurotransmitter for wakefulness. This chemical is produced by neurons in the basal forebrain and other regions. Acetylcholine is particularly important for attention and learning. During wakefulness, acetylcholine levels are relatively high, especially in the cortex. This heightened acetylcholine helps keep your brain in a state of readiness to learn and remember new information. Acetylcholine also plays a crucial role in keeping you awake by promoting the kind of neural activity patterns that characterize waking consciousness. The structure that is perhaps most important for maintaining wakefulness is a network called the Ascending Reticular Activating System, or ARAS. This network is located in the brainstem, the most ancient part of the brain, and extends upward to activate the thalamus and cortex. The ARAS is like the master switch for consciousness. If the ARAS is damaged, a person falls into a coma-like state, regardless of whether the cortex is intact. If the ARAS is functioning normally, consciousness can be maintained. The ARAS contains neurons that produce norepinephrine, dopamine, acetylcholine, and other neurotransmitters that promote wakefulness. These neurons project throughout the brain, and their combined activity creates the neural conditions necessary for consciousness. During wakefulness, the electrical activity of your brain shows what we call a desynchronized pattern. This means that different regions of your brain are not necessarily firing in synchronization with one another. Instead, neurons throughout your brain are firing at different times, creating a complex, irregular pattern of activity. If you were to look at an EEG recording of a waking brain, you would see relatively fast, irregular waves, often dominated by beta frequencies around 20 Hz or higher. This desynchronized pattern might seem chaotic, but it is actually perfectly suited to the task of processing diverse information from the environment and generating flexible responses. The thalamus plays a crucial role in maintaining this state of wakefulness. The thalamus is a relay station that sits in the middle of the brain, receiving sensory information from your eyes, ears, skin, and other sense organs. During wakefulness, the thalamus is highly active and responsive. It transmits incoming sensory information to the cortex for processing. The thalamus also receives feedback from the cortex, creating a dynamic conversation between these two regions. This conversation is essential for maintaining the focused attention and sensory awareness that characterize wakefulness. Your consciousness during wakefulness is also shaped by your circadian rhythm, the internal biological clock that regulates your sleep-wake cycle. This rhythm is generated by a small cluster of neurons in the hypothalamus called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN. The SCN receives information about light from your eyes. When light enters your eyes, it triggers signals that travel to the SCN, telling it what time of day it is. The SCN then sends signals throughout your brain and body, coordinating the timing of numerous physiological processes. During the day, when light levels are high, the SCN promotes wakefulness. It does this partly by suppressing the production of melatonin, a hormone that promotes sleep. During the evening, as light levels decrease, the SCN gradually reduces its promotion of wakefulness, allowing sleep-promoting signals to gradually take over. Throughout the waking day, your brain is constantly learning and encoding new memories. Neurons are forming new connections. Existing connections are being strengthened or weakened. Your experiences are being converted into patterns of neural activity that can be stored and retrieved later. This constant neural activity during wakefulness is energetically expensive, but it is absolutely essential. Without this daytime learning, without this encoding of experience into neural patterns, you would have no memories, no knowledge, no accumulated wisdom from your life. The alertness you feel during wakefulness is also maintained by the physical activity of your body. When you move, when you exercise, when you engage in activities that require physical exertion, you are sending signals to your brain that reinforce wakefulness. Physical activity increases the production of norepinephrine and dopamine. It increases heart rate and breathing, which increases oxygen delivery to the brain. It activates motor cortex and sensory cortex, increasing overall neural activity. This is why sitting still for too long can make you drowsy, while even brief physical activity can make you feel more alert. As the day progresses, a process begins to unfold that will eventually lead to sleep. This process is called the buildup of sleep pressure. Sleep pressure is created by a substance called adenosine. During wakefulness, neurons consume energy in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. As ATP is consumed, adenosine is released as a byproduct. Adenosine accumulates in your brain throughout the day. This accumulation of adenosine is like a chemical signal that says, "We have been awake for a while now. We have used up a lot of energy. It is time to rest." Adenosine binds to receptors throughout the brain, and these receptors send signals that promote sleepiness. Interestingly, the drug caffeine works by blocking these adenosine receptors, preventing adenosine from sending its message of sleepiness. This is why caffeine can keep you awake, even when your brain has accumulated significant sleep pressure. The first whispers of fatigue, when your brain begins to slow down. As evening approaches, something subtle begins to shift within your brain. You may not consciously notice it at first. Perhaps you find yourself yawning. Perhaps your eyelids feel slightly heavier. Perhaps you become aware that you have been reading the same paragraph for several minutes without truly processing the words. These small signals are not random. They are the first whispers of a profound transformation beginning to unfold in your neural landscape. Your brain is beginning its transition from wakefulness towards sleep, and this transition involves a remarkable sequence of chemical and electrical changes. The accumulation of adenosine throughout the day plays a central role in this process. By evening, after hours of wakefulness, adenosine has built up to significant levels throughout your brain. This adenosine is like a gentle pressure, like a soft hand gradually guiding you toward rest. But adenosine is not the only player in this transition. Another crucial factor is the gradual decrease in the neurotransmitter norepinephrine. As the day wanes, the neurons in the locus coeruleus that produce norepinephrine gradually reduce their firing rate. This means less norepinephrine is being released into your brain. With less norepinephrine, your neurons become less responsive. Your attention becomes less focused. Your mind becomes less alert. Simultaneously, another process is beginning to unfold. Your eyes are detecting that the quality of light has changed. As the sun moves lower on the horizon, the light entering your eyes shifts. It becomes warmer, redder, less intense, less. This change in light quality is detected by specialized cells in your retina, called intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells. These cells send signals to your suprachiasmatic nucleus, the internal clock in your brain. The SCN interprets this information as a signal that evening is arriving. In response, the SCN begins to increase the production of melatonin, a hormone that promotes sleep. Melatonin is produced by the pineal gland, a small structure deep in the center of your brain. Throughout most of the day, melatonin production is suppressed, but as evening approaches and light levels decrease, the pineal gland begins to release more and more melatonin into your bloodstream. This hormone travels throughout your body and brain. In your brain, melatonin binds to receptors that promote sleepiness. Melatonin also helps to suppress the production of norepinephrine, further reducing alertness. Interestingly, melatonin is not what actually makes you fall asleep. Rather, melatonin sets the stage for sleep. It creates the conditions under which sleep becomes possible. It is like dimming the lights before a performance. The dimming does not make the show happen, but it creates the atmosphere in which the show can take place. As melatonin levels rise and norepinephrine levels fall, something begins to happen in your thalamus. The thalamus, which during wakefulness has been actively relaying sensory information to your cortex, begins to change its mode of operation. Thalamic neurons begin to show a pattern of activity called thalamic spindles. These are brief bursts of neural firing that occur at a frequency of about 12 to 16 Hertz. The thalamic spindles are thought to be related to the process of shutting down the relay of sensory information. They are part of the mechanism by which your brain gradually disconnects from the sensory world and turns its attention inward. Your cortex also begins to show changes in its electrical activity. The fast, irregular beta waves that dominated during wakefulness gradually give way to slower waves. Alpha waves, which occur at frequencies of about 8 to 12 Hertz, become more prominent. Alpha waves are associated with a state of relaxed wakefulness, the kind of mental state you might experience when you are sitting quietly, not focusing on anything in particular, but still alert. If you were to look at an EEG recording of someone in this state, you would see these characteristic alpha waves, often most prominent in the back of the brain, in the occipital and parietal regions. As you continue to relax and fatigue deepens, something else happens. Your muscle tone begins to decrease. This is controlled by a system in your brainstem that modulates the activity of motor neurons. During wakefulness, your motor neurons maintain a certain level of activity to keep your muscles ready for action. But as sleep approaches, this motor neuron activity decreases. Your muscles relax. Your body becomes heavier. You may find yourself sinking deeper into your chair or bed. This reduction in muscle tone is partly under the control of neurotransmitters like serotonin and gamma-aminobutyric acid, or GABA. Both of these neurotransmitters have inhibitory effects on motor neurons, meaning they reduce the likelihood that motor neurons will fire. Serotonin is particularly important during this transition. Serotonin is produced by neurons in the raphe nuclei, a collection of structures running down the midline of the brainstem. Serotonin has multiple functions in the brain and body, but one important function is to promote relaxation and reduce arousal. As evening approaches, serotonin levels gradually increase. This contributes to the sense of calm and relaxation that typically precedes sleep. Interestingly, serotonin is also involved in regulating your circadian rhythm. The raphe nuclei receive input from the suprachiasmatic nucleus, so changes in circadian timing influence serotonin production. Your body temperature also begins to change. This change is crucial for initiating sleep. Your core body temperature gradually decreases as evening approaches. This decrease is regulated by your hypothalamus, which acts as your body's thermostat. The hypothalamus receives input from your suprachiasmatic nucleus about what time of day it is. Based on this timing information, the hypothalamus sends signals that cause blood vessels in your skin to dilate. This allows more blood to flow to the surface of your body, where heat can be lost to the environment. As your core body temperature decreases, this change is detected by temperature-sensitive neurons throughout your body. These neurons send signals to your brain that contribute to the sensation of sleepiness. Interestingly, the relationship between body temperature and sleep is bidirectional. Not only does a decrease in body temperature promote sleep, but sleep also influences body temperature. During certain stages of sleep, your body's ability to regulate temperature is reduced. This is why you might feel cold during sleep, even if the room temperature is comfortable. Your brain essentially stops trying to maintain your normal waking body temperature during sleep. This change in temperature regulation is thought to be part of the mechanism by which sleep accomplishes its restorative functions. As all of these changes accumulate, you begin to experience what we might call the threshold of drowsiness. You may still be aware of your surroundings. You may still be able to think coherent thoughts, but your awareness is becoming less focused. Your attention is drifting. Your thoughts are becoming less organized. You may experience what are called hypnagogic hallucinations, which are fragmentary images or sounds that occur as you drift towards sleep. These are not dreams yet. They are more like fleeting impressions, visual or auditory images that flash briefly through your mind. They are evidence that your brain is transitioning into a state where the normal rules of waking consciousness no longer apply. The threshold between worlds. The transition into light sleep. There is a moment, often imperceptible, when you cross a threshold. You have been lying in bed, your body growing heavier, your thoughts becoming more scattered. Then, without any clear boundary, you are no longer awake. You have entered what is called stage 1 of sleep, or N1 sleep. This stage is brief, typically lasting only a few minutes. It is also the most fragile stage of sleep. A noise, a sudden change in temperature, any unexpected stimulus can pull you back into wakefulness. Yet this brief stage is crucial. It is the gateway through which your brain must pass to reach deeper stages of sleep. During stage 1 sleep, your brain waves show a pattern called theta activity. Theta waves occur at frequencies between 4 and 8 Hz, slower than the alpha waves of relaxed wakefulness, but faster than the delta waves of deep sleep. If you were to look at an EEG recording of someone in stage 1 sleep, you would see these theta waves becoming more prominent. The theta waves are not uniform throughout the brain. They are often most prominent in the central regions of the brain, particularly in areas associated with the transition between wakefulness and sleep. One of the characteristic features of stage 1 sleep is a phenomenon called sleep onset. During this time, your brain is releasing its control over your muscles. Your muscle tone continues to decrease, but sometimes as this happens, a sudden burst of neural activity occurs that reactivates your muscles. This causes what is called a hypnic jerk or sleep start. You may suddenly twitch or your leg may jerk involuntarily. This is a completely normal occurrence and is experienced by most people from time to time. The hypnic jerk is thought to be a vestigial reflex, a remnant of our evolutionary past, when sudden muscle jerks might have helped our ancestors catch themselves if they were falling asleep in an unsafe location. Your consciousness during stage 1 sleep is in a peculiar state. You are no longer fully aware of your surroundings in the way you are during wakefulness, but neither are you completely unconscious. If you were awakened during stage 1 sleep, you would be able to report that you were sleeping, but you would probably not be able to recall any coherent thoughts or dreams. Your experience during this stage is more like a state of quiet awareness, a sense of drifting without clear content in your mind. Some people describe it as a state of peaceful emptiness. Others describe it as a state of floating. The transition from wakefulness to stage 1 sleep is accompanied by significant changes in the activity of various neurotransmitter systems. Norepinephrine, which was already reduced from daytime levels, continues to decrease. Acetylcholine, which was high during wakefulness, also decreases. But another neurotransmitter system becomes increasingly important during this transition. This is the system using GABA, or gamma-aminobutyric acid. GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter, which means that when GABA binds to receptors on neurons, it makes those neurons less likely to fire. As you enter sleep, GABA-producing neurons in various brain regions become more active. This increased GABAergic activity helps to suppress the firing of neurons throughout the brain, contributing to the quieting of neural activity that characterizes sleep onset. Another important change during the transition to stage 1 sleep involves a structure called the locus coeruleus, which we encountered earlier as the source of norepinephrine. During wakefulness, neurons in the locus coeruleus fire at a relatively steady rate. But as you fall asleep, the firing rate of these neurons decreases dramatically. By the time you are fully asleep, neurons in the locus coeruleus have almost completely stopped firing. This dramatic reduction in the activity of norepinephrine-producing neurons is one of the key changes that allows sleep to occur. Without this reduction, your brain would remain in a state of high alertness, and sleep would be impossible. The thalamus also shows dramatic changes during the transition to stage 1 sleep. During wakefulness, thalamic neurons are in what is called the tonic mode of firing. In this mode, they fire continuously, relaying sensory information to the cortex. But as you enter stage 1 sleep, thalamic neurons shift into a different mode called the burst mode. In burst mode, thalamic neurons fire in synchronized bursts, creating the thalamic spindles we discussed earlier. These spindles are thought to be involved in the process of gating or blocking the relay of sensory information to the cortex. Essentially, as you fall asleep, your thalamus is gradually shutting off the flow of sensory information to your cortex. This is why you become less aware of external stimuli as you fall asleep. Your body continues to relax during stage 1 sleep. Your breathing becomes slower and more regular. Your heart rate decreases, your blood pressure drops slightly. All of these changes reflect the shift from the sympathetic nervous system, which is active during wakefulness and maintains high alertness and readiness, to the parasympathetic nervous system, which is active during relaxation and promotes what is sometimes called the rest and digest state. The parasympathetic nervous system includes the vagus nerve, which sends signals from your brainstem to your heart, lungs, and digestive system. Activation of the parasympathetic nervous system causes heart rate to decrease, breathing to become more regular, and digestive processes to activate. During stage 1 sleep, your eyes are typically closed and relatively still. However, there is a distinctive eye movement that sometimes occurs during this stage. These are called slow-rolling eye movements. Unlike the rapid eye movements that occur during REM sleep, which we will discuss later, the eye movements during stage 1 sleep are slow and gentle. These movements are thought to reflect the gradual disengagement of your visual system from active processing of the environment. The duration of stage 1 sleep is typically brief, usually lasting only a few seconds to a few minutes. However, the length of stage 1 sleep can vary depending on various factors. If you are very tired, you may pass through stage 1 sleep very quickly. If you are only mildly drowsy, stage 1 sleep may last longer. If you are frequently interrupted or stressed, you may cycle in and out of stage 1 sleep multiple times before progressing to deeper stages. One of the most interesting aspects of stage 1 sleep is that it is a state in which your brain is still relatively responsive to external stimuli. If someone calls your name while you are in stage 1 sleep, you will likely wake up. If there is a sudden loud noise, you will probably be startled awake. This responsiveness is adaptive. It means that if there is a genuine emergency or danger, your brain can quickly return to full wakefulness. This is why stage 1 sleep is sometimes called light sleep. Your brain is not deeply committed to sleep yet. It is poised on the edge, ready to return to wakefulness if necessary. But if nothing disturbs you, if the environment remains quiet and calm, your brain will gradually progress to deeper stages of sleep. Theta waves and the dream portal, entering the gateway of imagination. As you continue to sleep, your brain gradually progresses deeper. The brief period of stage 1 sleep gives way to stage 2 sleep, or N2 sleep. This stage typically lasts about 20 minutes during the first sleep cycle, though the duration can vary. Stage 2 sleep is characterized by a distinctive pattern of brain waves and by the emergence of 2 specific types of neural activity that have fascinated sleep researchers for decades. These are called sleep spindles and K-complexes. Sleep spindles are bursts of neural firing that occur at a frequency of about 12 to 16 Hertz. They typically last for about half a second to 2 seconds. If you were to look at an EEG recording of someone in stage 2 sleep, you would see these spindles appearing intermittently throughout the recording. Sometimes they appear singly, sometimes they appear in clusters. The exact function of sleep spindles has been a subject of considerable research, but there is growing evidence that they play an important role in memory consolidation, particularly in consolidating procedural memories, which are memories of how to do things. K-complexes are another characteristic feature of stage 2 sleep. These are high-amplitude waves that appear in the EEG recording. They are typically triggered by external stimuli, such as a sound or a change in the environment. When a K-complex occurs in response to an external stimulus, it is thought to represent a kind of partial arousal response, a way that your brain responds to potentially important stimuli without fully waking you up. It is as if your brain is saying, "I notice that something has happened in the environment, but I have determined that it is not important enough to wake you up fully." The K-complex allows your brain to monitor the environment even while you are asleep, maintaining a level of vigilance that could be crucial if there were a genuine emergency. The overall brainwave pattern during stage 2 sleep is characterized by the re-emergence of theta waves, particularly in the central regions of the brain. Theta waves continue to dominate, but they are interspersed with the sleep spindles and K complexes. If you were to look at an EEG recording of stage 2 sleep, you would see a pattern that is more organized and regular than the somewhat chaotic pattern of wakefulness, but not yet as synchronized as the pattern of deep sleep. During stage 2 sleep, your consciousness has become much less connected to the external world. You are no longer aware of your surroundings in any meaningful way. If you were awakened during stage 2 sleep, you would report that you were sleeping, but you would probably not remember any dreams. Your experience during stage 2 sleep is one of quiet, dreamless sleep. Your thoughts, if you can call them thoughts, are not organized into coherent narratives. Instead, your mind is in a state of relative quiet, with only occasional fragmentary images or sensations. However, something important is happening during stage 2 sleep that we are only beginning to understand. Your brain is actively engaged in memory consolidation. The information you learned during the day, the experiences you had, the skills you practiced, are being integrated into long-term memory. This process involves complex interactions between different brain regions. The hippocampus, a region deep in the brain that is crucial for forming new memories, is communicating with the cortex, where long-term memories are stored. The hippocampus is essentially replaying the events of the day in a compressed form, transferring information from temporary storage in the hippocampus to more permanent storage in the cortex. One of the most fascinating discoveries in sleep research in recent years is that this memory consolidation process is not passive. It is not like information simply being copied from one location to another. Instead, it is an active process in which memories are being reorganized and integrated with existing knowledge. Memories are being abstracted, with the essential features being extracted and stored, while irrelevant details are discarded. Memories are being connected to related memories, creating networks of knowledge. This is why sleep is so important for learning. Without sleep, your brain cannot properly consolidate what you have learned. The neurotransmitter acetylcholine, which was high during wakefulness, remains low during stage 2 sleep. This low acetylcholine is thought to be important for the memory consolidation process. With acetylcholine levels low, the cortex is less responsive to external input and more responsive to input from the hippocampus. This creates the neural conditions that are optimal for the transfer of information from the hippocampus to the cortex. Essentially, by reducing the influence of external stimuli and increasing the influence of internal memory signals, low acetylcholine creates an environment in which memories can be consolidated. Your body temperature continues to decrease during stage 2 sleep, though the regulation of temperature remains relatively normal. Your breathing is slow and regular, your heart rate is reduced, your blood pressure is lower than during wakefulness. All of these physiological changes reflect the shift toward the parasympathetic nervous system. Your body is in a state of rest and restoration. Metabolic rate is reduced. Growth hormone levels are beginning to increase. This hormone plays an important role in physical restoration and repair. As you continue through stage 2 sleep, something else is beginning to happen. The theta waves that characterize stage 2 sleep are gradually becoming more prominent. Your brain is beginning to show patterns that are intermediate between the theta activity of stage 2 sleep and the delta activity that characterizes stage 3 sleep or deep sleep. This transition is gradual. There is no sharp boundary between stage 2 and stage 3 sleep. Instead, there is a gradual shift in the proportion of different brainwave frequencies. As more and more delta waves appear in the EEG recording, as the theta waves become less prominent, your brain is progressively entering deeper sleep. The theta waves that become increasingly prominent as you progress through stage 2 sleep are thought to be particularly important for memory consolidation. These theta waves are often referred to as the memory consolidation rhythm. The theta waves originate from various brain regions, but particularly from the hippocampus and the medial temporal lobe. The rhythm of these theta waves appears to coordinate the activity of neurons in different brain regions, facilitating the communication between the hippocampus and the cortex that is necessary for memory consolidation. During this stage, your brain is also beginning to show something called slow wave activity. Slow waves are very low frequency waves that appear in the EEG recording. They occur at frequencies below 1 Hz. In other words, A complete cycle of the wave takes more than 1 second. These slow waves are thought to represent the synchronized firing of large populations of neurons. Millions of neurons fire together, then fall silent together, then fire again. This synchronized activity is thought to be important for the coordinated activity of different brain regions and for the consolidation of memories. Your dreams, if they occur during stage 2 sleep, are typically less vivid and less emotionally intense than the dreams that occur during REM sleep. If you were awakened during stage 2 sleep, you might report that you were having some kind of mental activity, but it would be difficult to describe. You might remember fragmentary images or sensations, but not a coherent narrative. This is quite different from REM sleep dreams, which are typically vivid, emotionally intense, and have a narrative structure. The architecture of deep sleep, where restoration truly happens deeper and deeper, your consciousness sinks. The boundaries between thoughts fade away. The sense of time dissolves. You have entered stage 3 sleep, also called deep sleep or slow wave sleep. This is the most restorative stage of sleep, the stage in which your body accomplishes the most profound physical restoration. If stage 1 and stage 2 sleep are the gentle introduction to sleep, stage 3 sleep is the heart of sleep, the stage in which the true work of sleep happens. Stage 3 sleep is characterized by the dominance of delta waves in the EEG recording. Delta waves are the slowest brain waves, occurring at frequencies below 2 Hz. In other words, a complete cycle of the wave takes more than half a second. When delta waves are prominent, the EEG recording shows a distinctive pattern of large, slow waves. This pattern is so characteristic that stage 3 sleep is often called slow wave sleep. The appearance of these slow waves indicates that your brain has entered a state of profound quietness, a state in which neural activity is highly synchronized and coordinated. The emergence of delta waves during stage 3 sleep is thought to reflect a state in which large populations of neurons throughout the cortex are firing together in a coordinated manner. Millions of neurons fire together, then fall silent together, then fire again, all in perfect synchronization. This synchronized activity is quite different from the relatively asynchronous activity of wakefulness. During wakefulness, different neurons in different brain regions are firing at different times, creating a complex, irregular pattern of activity. But during stage 3 sleep, this activity becomes synchronized. It is as if your entire brain is breathing together, expanding and contracting in perfect unison. The synchronization of neural activity during stage 3 sleep is thought to serve several important functions. First, this synchronized activity may be important for memory consolidation. During stage 3 sleep, slow wave activity is particularly prominent in the cortex, while theta waves are still active in the hippocampus. This combination of slow waves in the cortex and theta waves in the hippocampus appears to create optimal conditions for the transfer of memories from the hippocampus to the cortex. Slow waves may serve to organize and consolidate memories in the cortex, integrating new information with existing knowledge. Second, the synchronized neural activity of stage 3 sleep may serve important functions related to synaptic homeostasis. During wakefulness, neurons form new synaptic connections and strengthen existing connections. This process, called synaptic potentiation, is how you learn and form memories. However, if synaptic strengthening continued indefinitely, your brain would eventually become saturated. There would be no room for new learning. Additionally, too many strong synapses could interfere with the proper functioning of neural circuits. During stage 3 sleep, a process called synaptic downscaling occurs. Synapses that were strengthened during wakefulness are weakened during sleep. However, this weakening is not random. Synapses that were most strongly strengthened during the day are weakened the most. Synapses that were less strongly strengthened are weakened less. In this way, the relative strengths of synapses are adjusted, allowing important memories to be retained while preventing the brain from becoming saturated with information. Your body during stage 3 sleep is profoundly relaxed. Your muscle tone is greatly reduced. Your breathing is slow and regular, typically at a rate of about 12 to 16 breaths per minute, somewhat slower than the breathing rate of wakefulness. Your heart rate is reduced, typically to about 40 to 60 beats per minute, compared to 60 to 100 beats per minute during wakefulness. Your blood pressure is significantly lower than during wakefulness. These physiological changes reflect a state of profound rest. Your body is no longer preparing for action. It is in a state of complete relaxation. However, this profound relaxation is deceptive. While your body is relaxed, your brain is working intensely. The slow waves of deep sleep are not a sign of inactivity. They are a sign of a different kind of activity. A kind of activity that is organized and synchronized rather than rapid and asynchronous. Your brain during deep sleep is accomplishing tasks that are essential for your health and well-being. It is consolidating memories. It is reorganizing information. It is performing maintenance and repair at the cellular level. One of the most important functions of stage 3 sleep is the secretion of growth hormone. Growth hormone is produced by the pituitary gland, a small structure at the base of the brain. During wakefulness, growth hormone levels are relatively low, but during stage 3 sleep, growth hormone levels surge. This surge occurs in response to signals from the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus detects that you are in deep sleep and sends signals to the pituitary gland to increase growth hormone production. Growth hormone is crucial for physical restoration and repair. It stimulates the growth and repair of muscles, bones, and connective tissue. It enhances the immune system. It promotes the metabolism of fats. In children and adolescents, growth hormone is essential for growth. In adults, growth hormone continues to play important roles in maintaining physical health and vitality. During stage 3 sleep, your body also shows increased secretion of prolactin, a hormone produced by the pituitary gland. Prolactin has multiple functions, including roles in immune function and reproductive health. Prolactin levels are typically higher during sleep than during wakefulness, and they are particularly high during stage 3 sleep. Your immune system is also highly active during stage 3 sleep. During deep sleep, there is an increase in the production of cytokines, which are signaling molecules that regulate immune function. Cytokines like interleukins and tumor necrosis factor are increased during stage 3 sleep. These cytokines help to promote immune responses and fight off infections. This is one reason why sleep is so important for recovery from illness. If you are fighting an infection, your body needs sleep to mount an effective immune response. Without adequate sleep, your immune system cannot function optimally. Your thermoregulation during stage 3 sleep is interesting. Your core body temperature continues to be lower than during wakefulness, but your body's ability to regulate temperature in response to environmental changes is reduced. This means that if the room becomes very cold, your body will not respond as quickly as it would during wakefulness. Your body essentially accepts a lower body temperature during deep sleep. This reduction in thermoregulation is thought to be part of the mechanism by which sleep accomplishes its restorative functions. By allowing body temperature to decrease, your body may be reducing metabolic rate and energy consumption, allowing energy to be directed toward repair and restoration processes. During stage 3 sleep, neurotransmitter levels have shifted dramatically compared to wakefulness. Norepinephrine is at very low levels, dopamine is reduced, acetylcholine is low, but other neurotransmitters are active. GABA is elevated, contributing to the inhibition of neural activity. Serotonin is present at moderate levels. Adenosine, the sleep-promoting substance that accumulated during wakefulness, is being cleared from your brain as stage 3 sleep progresses. The duration of stage 3 sleep varies throughout the night. During the first sleep cycle, stage 3 sleep is typically quite long, lasting 30 to 40 minutes or more. During subsequent sleep cycles, stage 3 sleep becomes progressively shorter. By the end of the night, stage 3 sleep may last only a few minutes, or may not occur at all in the final sleep cycles. This pattern of stage 3 sleep being concentrated in the early part of the night is thought to be adaptive. It ensures that the most restorative sleep occurs early in the night, when you are most deeply fatigued and when your body most needs restoration. Memory's midnight journey. How neurons reorganize your experiences. Within the depths of sleep, something remarkable occurs that you will never witness while awake. Your memories are being reorganized. Your experiences are being transformed. The events of your day, the information you learned, the skills you practiced, are being systematically processed and integrated into the vast library of your accumulated knowledge and experience. This process of memory consolidation is not a simple transfer of information from one location to another. It is an active process of reorganization and integration, a process that fundamentally shapes what you remember and how you remember it. The hippocampus plays a central role in this process. The hippocampus is a seahorse-shaped structure located deep in the medial temporal lobe of your brain. During wakefulness, as you learn and experience new things, the hippocampus is actively encoding these experiences. Neurons in the hippocampus are forming new connections and strengthening existing connections in response to new information. The hippocampus is essentially creating a temporary record of your experiences, storing them in its neural circuits. This temporary storage is essential because the hippocampus has limited capacity. It can store information for a relatively short time, typically days to weeks but not permanently. During sleep, particularly during stage 2 and stage 3 sleep, the hippocampus begins to replay the events of the day. This replay is not a perfect recreation of your experiences. Instead, it is a compressed, abstracted version. In research using electrodes implanted in the brains of sleeping animals, neuroscientists have been able to record the activity of hippocampal neurons during sleep. They have found that the patterns of neural firing during sleep closely resemble the patterns of neural firing during the original experience. In other words, the same neurons that fired when the animal was learning are firing again during sleep, but in a compressed time frame. What took minutes to experience during the day is replayed in seconds during sleep. This replay process is thought to be crucial for the consolidation of memories. As the hippocampus replays experiences, it is sending signals to the cortex. The cortex receives these signals and begins to integrate the new information with existing knowledge. Gradually, information that was initially stored in the hippocampus is transferred to the cortex, where it becomes part of long-term memory. This transfer is gradual. It does not happen all at once during a single night. Instead, memories gradually become more integrated with cortical knowledge over multiple nights of sleep. The process of memory consolidation is guided by something called the systems consolidation hypothesis. According to this hypothesis, memories that are initially encoded in the hippocampus are gradually transferred to the cortex over time. During this process, memories change. They become less specific, more generalized. Details that are important for remembering a specific event may be lost, but the essential meaning is preserved. This is why older memories often feel less vivid and detailed than recent memories. With time and sleep, memories are progressively abstracted and generalized. However, there is another process occurring during sleep that is equally important to memory consolidation. This process is called reconsolidation. During reconsolidation, memories that are retrieved during sleep are modified and updated. This is how your memories can change and evolve. If you learn something new that relates to an existing memory, during sleep, your existing memory may be updated to incorporate the new information. This means that memories are not static. They are dynamic, constantly being updated and modified based on new information and new experiences. During stage 2 sleep, when sleep spindles are prominent, there is particularly strong evidence for memory consolidation. Research has shown that the number of sleep spindles is correlated with learning ability. People who show more sleep spindles after learning a new task tend to perform better on that task the next day. This suggests that sleep spindles are directly involved in the consolidation of memories. The spindles appear to be orchestrating the communication between the hippocampus and the cortex, coordinating the transfer of information. Different types of memories are consolidated during different stages of sleep. Declarative memories, which are memories of facts and events that you can consciously recall and verbally describe, are primarily consolidated during stage 2 and stage 3 sleep. These are the memories that involve the hippocampus and the cortex. Procedural memories, which are memories of how to do things, like how to ride a bicycle or how to type, are primarily consolidated during REM sleep, though they also receive some consolidation during other stages of sleep. Emotional memories are consolidated throughout sleep, with different emotional aspects being processed during different stages. The process of memory consolidation during sleep also involves something called memory integration. This is the process by which new information is connected to existing knowledge. When you learn something new, It does not exist in isolation. Instead, it is connected to related knowledge that you already possess. During sleep, these connections are strengthened and elaborated. New information is linked to existing memories. Similarities and differences between new and existing information are identified and encoded. This process of integration is thought to be crucial for the development of understanding and wisdom. Without this integration during sleep, new information would remain isolated and disconnected from your broader knowledge. The role of different neurotransmitters in memory consolidation during sleep is increasingly being understood. Acetylcholine, which is low during stage 3 sleep, is thought to be important for this reason. With acetylcholine levels low, the cortex is less responsive to external input and more responsive to input from the hippocampus. This creates optimal conditions for the transfer of information from the hippocampus to the cortex. During REM sleep, acetylcholine levels increase again, and this is thought to be important for the consolidation of procedural memories and emotional memories. One of the most fascinating aspects of memory consolidation during sleep is that it is selective. Your brain does not consolidate all memories equally. Memories that are emotionally significant, memories that are relevant to your goals and interests, memories that are repeated and reinforced, are more likely to be consolidated than memories that are neutral and irrelevant. This selectivity is adaptive. It means that your brain prioritizes the consolidation of information that is most important to you and most likely to be useful in the future. During sleep, your brain is also engaged in what might be called memory editing. Information is being reorganized and refined. Irrelevant details are being stripped away. Essential information is being highlighted and strengthened. Errors and inconsistencies are being corrected. This process is thought to be important for the development of accurate and useful memories. Without this editing process during sleep, your memories would accumulate irrelevant details and would become increasingly inaccurate over time. The dream experiences that occur during REM sleep are thought to be related to this process of memory consolidation and integration. Dreams may represent the conscious experience of your brain working on memory consolidation. When you dream, your brain is actively engaged in processing memories and emotions. The strange, surreal quality of many dreams may reflect the fact that your brain is accessing memories and combining them in novel ways, creating new associations and connections. The glymphatic system, your brain's invisible cleaning crew. During the day, as your brain works, as neurons fire and form connections and engage in the countless activities necessary for consciousness and cognition, byproducts accumulate. These byproducts are metabolic waste products, substances that are created as a result of neural activity, but that cannot be used by neurons for further work. If these waste products accumulated indefinitely, they would interfere with neural function. They would create a toxic environment in which neurons could not operate properly. This is where one of the most remarkable discoveries in neuroscience comes into play. Your brain has a cleaning system, a system that is particularly active during sleep. This system is called the glymphatic system. The glymphatic system was discovered only in 2013 by neuroscientist Maiken Nedergaard and her colleagues. It is called the glymphatic system because it is similar in function to the lymphatic system that exists throughout your body, but it operates in the brain, which was previously thought to not have a lymphatic system. The glymphatic system is a network of channels through which cerebrospinal fluid flows through your brain, washing away waste products and toxins. Cerebrospinal fluid is a clear fluid that surrounds your brain and spinal cord. It serves multiple functions, including providing cushioning and support for your brain, distributing nutrients, and removing waste products. During wakefulness, cerebrospinal fluid flows around the outside of your brain and through the ventricles, which are chambers inside your brain. But during sleep, something remarkable happens. The volume of cerebrospinal fluid flow dramatically increases. In fact, cerebrospinal fluid flow increases by about 60% during sleep compared to wakefulness. This increased cerebrospinal fluid flow during sleep is made possible by changes in the size of neurons. During sleep, neurons shrink. They reduce their volume by about 60%. This creates more space between neurons, creating channels through which cerebrospinal fluid can flow. As cerebrospinal fluid flows through these channels, it pushes interstitial fluid, which is the fluid that fills the spaces between neurons out of the brain. This interstitial fluid carries with it the waste products that have accumulated in the brain during wakefulness. These waste products are then cleared from the brain through the lymphatic system. The waste products that are cleared by the lymphatic system include proteins like beta amyloid and tau. These proteins are associated with neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's disease. When beta amyloid and tau accumulate in the brain, they can form plaques and tangles that damage neurons and interfere with neural function. This accumulation is thought to be one of the factors that contributes to the development of Alzheimer's disease. The lymphatic system is thought to be one of the brain's primary mechanisms for preventing this accumulation. During sleep, the lymphatic system clears these proteins from the brain, preventing them from accumulating to toxic levels. One of the key players in the lymphatic system is a type of brain cell called an astrocyte. Astrocytes are star-shaped cells that surround neurons and provide support and nutrients to them. During sleep, astrocytes shrink, which is part of the process that creates space for cerebrospinal fluid to flow. Astrocytes also play an active role in the lymphatic system by contracting and relaxing in a coordinated manner, which helps to pump cerebrospinal fluid through the brain. This pumping action is driven by changes in calcium levels within astrocytes. During sleep, there are waves of calcium changes that sweep through astrocytes, causing them to contract and relax in a coordinated manner that propels cerebrospinal fluid through the brain. The lymphatic system is particularly active during certain stages of sleep. Research has shown that the lymphatic system is more active during deep sleep than during REM sleep. This makes sense because deep sleep is the stage in which your brain is most active in terms of memory consolidation and information processing. The brain produces more metabolic waste during deep sleep than during other stages. The lymphatic system must work harder to clear this waste. Importantly, the lymphatic system is much less active during wakefulness than during sleep. In fact, cerebrospinal fluid flow is about 25% lower during wakefulness than during sleep. This means that your brain is not able to clear waste products nearly as effectively during wakefulness as during sleep. This is one of the reasons why sleep is so essential for brain health. Without adequate sleep, waste products accumulate in your brain. With chronic sleep deprivation, the accumulation of these waste products can lead to cognitive impairment, difficulty concentrating, and potentially long-term neurological damage. The discovery of the lymphatic system has profound implications for understanding sleep and for understanding neurodegenerative diseases. It suggests that one of the primary functions of sleep is to allow your brain to clean itself. Sleep is not merely a time for memory consolidation and physical restoration. Sleep is also a time for housekeeping, for clearing away the accumulated debris of waking brain activity. Without this cleaning function, your brain would gradually become clogged with waste products, and your neural function would deteriorate. The lymphatic system is also active in clearing other types of waste products from the brain, not just proteins associated with neurodegeneration. During the day, neurons consume oxygen and glucose, which are delivered by blood vessels. This metabolic activity produces byproducts like carbon dioxide and other metabolic waste products. The lymphatic system clears these products during sleep, ensuring that your brain starts each day with a clean slate. Interestingly, the lymphatic system appears to be regulated by your circadian rhythm, your internal biological clock. The lymphatic system is more active at certain times of day, typically during the normal sleep hours. This means that the timing of sleep is important. Sleeping at the right time of day, in synchronization with your circadian rhythm, allows the lymphatic system to function optimally. If you sleep at unusual times, if you have an irregular sleep schedule, the lymphatic system may not function as effectively. The discovery of the lymphatic system has also shed light on the relationship between sleep and Alzheimer's disease. Research has shown that people with Alzheimer's disease tend to have disrupted sleep, particularly a reduction in deep sleep. This disruption of deep sleep may lead to impaired lymphatic function, which allows beta amyloid and tau to accumulate in the brain, which further damages neurons and disrupts sleep. This creates a vicious cycle in which poor sleep leads to accumulation of neurotoxic proteins, which further damages the brain and disrupts sleep even more. Breaking this cycle by improving sleep quality and ensuring adequate deep sleep may be one of the most important interventions for preventing or slowing the progression of Alzheimer's disease. REM sleep and the paradox of dreams. When your brain awakens. While you sleep, about 90 minutes into your sleep, something extraordinary happens. Your brain enters a state that is paradoxical, a state that seems to contradict what we might expect sleep to be. Your brain waves become fast and irregular, resembling the pattern of wakefulness. Your heart rate increases. Your blood pressure rises. Your body temperature increases. Most remarkably, your eyes begin to move rapidly from side to side beneath your closed eyelids. This stage of sleep is called REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement sleep. And during this stage, you are dreaming. REM sleep is remarkable for many reasons, but perhaps the most remarkable is the paradox it presents. Your brain is highly active, almost as active as during wakefulness. Your brain waves are fast and desynchronized, similar to waking brain waves. Yet you are asleep. You are not responding to external stimuli in the way you would during wakefulness. You cannot control your thoughts or direct your attention in the way you do during wakefulness. Instead, your mind is drawn into vivid, emotionally intense dreams. You are experiencing a form of consciousness that is different from waking consciousness. Yet it is not the quiet, peaceful consciousness of deep sleep. One of the most distinctive features of REM sleep is a phenomenon called atonia, which means the absence of muscle tone. During REM sleep, the motor neurons that control your voluntary muscles are inhibited. This means that even though your brain is highly active, even though your motor cortex is firing, your muscles are paralyzed. You cannot move your limbs. You cannot sit up. You cannot run or fight or do anything physical. The only muscles that remain active are your diaphragm, which controls your breathing, and your eye muscles, which allow your eyes to move. This paralysis during REM sleep is thought to be a protective mechanism. It prevents you from acting out your dreams, from flailing about and potentially injuring yourself. The paralysis of REM sleep is maintained by a system in the brainstem called the locus coeruleus and the surrounding region. Neurons in this region produce norepinephrine during wakefulness, which we discussed earlier. But during REM sleep, the neurons in the locus coeruleus stop firing almost completely. Norepinephrine levels plummet. Simultaneously, neurons in a region called the pons begin to fire actively. These neurons produce acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter that was low during deep sleep but is high during wakefulness. However, the acetylcholine produced during REM sleep has a different effect than the acetylcholine produced during wakefulness. During REM sleep, the acetylcholine activates motor cortex, causing it to fire as if you were moving. But at the same time, other neurons in the brainstem are sending inhibitory signals to the motor neurons in your spinal cord, preventing them from firing. This creates a state in which your motor cortex is active and trying to drive movement, but your motor neurons are inhibited, so no movement occurs. The dreams that occur during REM sleep are typically vivid, emotionally intense, and have a narrative structure. When people are awakened during REM sleep, they usually report that they were having a dream. In contrast, when people are awakened during other stages of sleep, they are less likely to report dreams. This does not mean that dreams do not occur during other stages of sleep. Research suggests that dreams do occur during non-REM sleep, but these dreams are typically less vivid and less emotionally intense. REM sleep dreams are the dreams that people most often remember when they wake up in the morning. The content of REM sleep dreams is often bizarre and surreal. The laws of physics do not apply. Impossible events occur. People and places morph into one another. Time is distorted. You may find yourself in a place that seems familiar, but is also somehow strange. You may encounter people you know, but who appear different. You may have experiences that would be impossible in waking life. Why does your brain generate these strange, surreal experiences during REM sleep? One theory is that REM sleep dreams are related to the process of memory consolidation and emotional processing. During REM sleep, your brain is active in processing emotional memories and integrating them with existing knowledge. The strange, surreal quality of dreams may reflect the fact that your brain is accessing diverse memories and combining them in novel ways. Your brain is making new connections, finding similarities between seemingly unrelated memories, creating new associations. The emotional intensity of REM dreams may reflect the fact that your brain is processing emotionally significant events and memories. Another theory is that dreams serve a function related to threat simulation. According to this theory, dreams are simulations of threatening situations that allow your brain to practice responding to dangers in a safe environment. During REM sleep, your brain is generating scenarios, many of which involve threatening situations. Your brain is practicing how to respond to these threats. When you wake up, you are more prepared to handle actual threats if they occur. This theory makes evolutionary sense. For our ancestors, the ability to quickly and effectively respond to threats was crucial for survival. Any mechanism that allowed them to practice responding to threats would have been strongly selected for. Yet another theory is that REM sleep dreams serve a function related to emotional regulation. During REM sleep, your brain is processing emotional memories and emotional reactions to events. The amygdala, which is the emotional center of the brain, is highly active during REM sleep. The prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for rational thinking and impulse control, is relatively inactive during REM sleep. This combination of an active amygdala and an inactive prefrontal cortex means that during REM sleep, your brain is processing emotions without the rational constraints that normally apply. This may allow your brain to process emotions that are difficult to process during wakefulness, when the prefrontal cortex is imposing rational constraints. The duration of REM sleep changes throughout the night. During the first sleep cycle, REM sleep is brief, lasting only about 10 minutes. But as the night progresses, REM sleep periods become progressively longer. By the end of the night, REM sleep may last for an hour or more. This means that most of your REM sleep occurs in the latter part of the night. This is why dreams are often most vivid and most easily remembered in the early morning hours, just before you wake up. REM sleep is characterized by increased blood flow to certain brain regions, particularly the visual cortex, the motor cortex, and regions involved in emotion and memory processing. The prefrontal cortex, which is involved in rational thinking and self-awareness, shows reduced activity during REM sleep. This pattern of brain activation is thought to explain many of the characteristics of REM sleep dreams. The high activity in visual cortex explains why dreams are so visually vivid. The high activity in motor cortex explains why you feel like you are moving in dreams, even though your body is paralyzed. The high activity in emotional regions explains why dreams are so emotionally intense. The low activity in the prefrontal cortex explains why dreams are so illogical and why you do not recognize that you are dreaming. During REM sleep, your eyes move rapidly from side to side. These rapid eye movements are not random. They appear to be related to the content of your dreams. Research has shown that the direction and pattern of eye movements during REM sleep correlate with the content of dreams. If you are dreaming of looking at something to your left, your eyes move to the left. If you are dreaming of looking at something to your right, your eyes move to the right. This suggests that the eye movements during REM sleep are related to the visual attention during dreams. The rhythm of night, circadian patterns, and neural harmony. Throughout the night, your sleep progresses through a series of cycles, each one lasting approximately 90 minutes. You begin in stage 1 sleep, progress through stage 2 sleep, descend into stage 3 sleep, then rise back to stage 2 sleep, and finally enter REM sleep. Then the cycle begins again. This progression through different stages of sleep occurs multiple times throughout the night, typically 4 to 6 complete cycles. However, the proportion of time spent in each stage changes as the night progresses. This changing proportion of sleep stages throughout the night is controlled by your circadian rhythm, your internal biological clock. Your circadian rhythm is generated by a small cluster of neurons in the hypothalamus called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN. The SCN contains approximately 20,000 neurons, yet this small structure controls the timing of sleep and wakefulness and coordinates numerous physiological processes throughout your body. The SCN generates a rhythm that repeats approximately every 24 hours. This is why it is called a circadian rhythm. Circadian literally means about a day. The SCN receives input from your eyes about the light level in your environment. Specialized photoreceptors in your retina called intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells are sensitive to blue light. During the day when light levels are high and blue light is abundant, These cells send signals to the SCN. The SCN interprets these signals as meaning it is daytime, and it adjusts its activity accordingly. During the evening and night, when light levels are low and blue light is scarce, the SCN receives fewer signals from these photoreceptors. The SCN interprets this as meaning it is nighttime. Based on this light information, the SCN coordinates the timing of numerous physiological processes. During the day, the SCN promotes wakefulness. It does this by inhibiting the production of melatonin, the sleep-promoting hormone. It also promotes the production of cortisol, a hormone that promotes alertness and arousal. It increases body temperature. It promotes the production of various neurotransmitters that support wakefulness. During the evening and night, the SCN does the opposite. It stops inhibiting melatonin production, allowing melatonin levels to increase. It reduces cortisol production. It allows body temperature to decrease. It promotes the production of neurotransmitters that support sleep. The circadian rhythm generated by the SCN continues even in the absence of external light cues. If you were to spend time in a room with no windows and no clocks, isolated from all external time cues, your sleep-wake cycle would continue. However, your internal circadian rhythm would gradually drift. Most people have an internal circadian rhythm that is slightly longer than 24 hours, typically about 24 hours and 15 minutes. This means that without external time cues, you would gradually shift later and later each day. Eventually, your sleep and wakefulness would be completely reversed relative to the external world. This is why external time cues, particularly light, are so important for keeping your circadian rhythm synchronized with the external world. The influence of your circadian rhythm on sleep stages is profound. During the early part of the night, when your circadian rhythm is promoting sleep, deep sleep is prominent. Stage 3 sleep dominates the early sleep cycles, but as the night progresses, the circadian rhythm gradually shifts. By the latter part of the night, the circadian rhythm is beginning to promote wakefulness. At this point, Stage 3 sleep becomes less prominent, and REM sleep becomes more prominent. By the end of the night, REM sleep dominates. This is why most of your REM sleep occurs in the early morning hours. The timing of the circadian rhythm shift from sleep promotion to wakefulness promotion occurs gradually throughout the night. It is not an abrupt switch. Instead, it is a gradual change that accelerates as the end of the normal sleep period approaches. This gradual shift is adaptive. It ensures that you gradually become more alert as the time to wake approaches, making waking easier. If the shift were abrupt, you might wake up suddenly and feel disoriented. Different aspects of your circadian rhythm have different phases. This means that different physiological processes reach their peak and trough at different times of day. Your body temperature, for example, typically reaches its minimum around 4 to 5 in the morning and its maximum around 4 to 5 in the afternoon. Your cortisol levels typically reach their maximum just before you wake up in the morning. Your melatonin levels reach their maximum in the middle of the night. This complex pattern of different circadian phases is important for coordinating numerous physiological processes. Disruption of your circadian rhythm can have significant consequences for sleep quality and overall health. When you travel across time zones, you experience what is called jet lag. Your internal circadian rhythm is still set to the time zone you came from, but the external world is operating on a different time. This mismatch between your internal rhythm and external time can cause sleep disruption, fatigue, and difficulty concentrating. It takes several days for your circadian rhythm to adjust to the new time zone. Working night shifts or irregular work schedules can also disrupt your circadian rhythm. If your work schedule requires you to be awake at times when your circadian rhythm is promoting sleep, you will experience poor sleep quality. If your work schedule requires you to sleep at times when your circadian rhythm is promoting wakefulness, you will also experience poor sleep quality. Chronic circadian rhythm disruption is associated with numerous health problems, including increased risk of obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. The neural basis of circadian rhythm generation involves a complex network of neurons and neurotransmitters. The SCN contains neurons that produce various neurotransmitters, including glutamate, GABA, neuropeptide Y, and vasoactive intestinal peptide. These neurons fire at different rates at different times of day. At some times, SCN neurons are highly active and firing rapidly. At other times, they are relatively quiet. The pattern of SCN neuron activity throughout the day creates the circadian rhythm. This pattern is maintained by the properties of the neurons themselves. SCN neurons have intrinsic properties that cause them to fire in a rhythmic pattern, even when they are isolated from all external input. This intrinsic rhythmicity is then modulated by input from the eyes about light levels. The circadian rhythm coordinates not only sleep and wakefulness, but also numerous other physiological processes. Hormone secretion follows a circadian pattern. Immune function fluctuates throughout the day. Digestive processes are synchronized to the circadian rhythm. Even gene expression in your cells follows a circadian pattern. Thousands of genes in your body are expressed at higher levels at certain times of day and lower levels at other times. This coordination of numerous physiological processes by the circadian rhythm is crucial for maintaining health and well-being. Neurotransmitters, the messengers of rest, chemistry of calm. Throughout your sleep, a complex dance of chemical messengers unfolds. These messengers are neurotransmitters, molecules that neurons use to communicate with one another across synapses. During sleep, the pattern of neurotransmitter release changes dramatically compared to wakefulness. Different neurotransmitters come into prominence. Some neurotransmitters that were active during wakefulness are reduced. Others that were quiet during wakefulness become active. This shifting pattern of neurotransmitter activity is what creates the different states of sleep and what gives each stage of sleep its characteristic properties. We have already discussed several of these neurotransmitters. Norepinephrine, which maintains alertness during wakefulness, decreases dramatically as you fall asleep and remains low throughout most of sleep. Dopamine, which maintains motivation and drive during wakefulness, also decreases during sleep. Acetylcholine, which is high during wakefulness and promotes attention and learning, decreases during deep sleep, though it increases again during REM sleep. But there are other neurotransmitters that become increasingly active during sleep. GABA, or gamma-aminobutyric acid, is an inhibitory neurotransmitter that plays a crucial role in promoting sleep. GABA binds to receptors on neurons and makes those neurons less likely to fire. During sleep, GABA-producing neurons in various brain regions become more active. This increased GABAergic activity suppresses the firing of neurons throughout the brain, reducing neural activity and promoting the quiet state of sleep. In fact, many medications that promote sleep work by enhancing GABAergic activity. Benzodiazepines, a class of anti-anxiety and sleep-promoting medications, work by enhancing the effects of GABA on neurons. Serotonin is another neurotransmitter that plays important roles in sleep. Serotonin is produced by neurons in the raphe nuclei, a collection of structures running down the midline of the brainstem. During the transition from wakefulness to sleep, serotonin levels increase. Serotonin promotes relaxation and reduces arousal. Serotonin also plays important roles in regulating mood and emotion. Low serotonin levels are associated with depression and anxiety. During sleep, serotonin appears to play a role in emotional processing and mood regulation. Many antidepressant medications work by increasing serotonin levels, and these medications often improve sleep quality as a side effect. Adenosine, which we discussed earlier as a sleep-promoting substance that accumulates during wakefulness, is an important signaling molecule during sleep. Adenosine binds to receptors throughout the brain, and these receptors send signals that promote sleepiness. Adenosine levels are particularly high in the basal forebrain and other regions during sleep. As sleep progresses, adenosine levels gradually decrease. By the time you wake up in the morning, adenosine levels have returned to low levels. This clearing of adenosine during sleep is one of the ways in which sleep pressure is relieved. After a night of sleep, adenosine levels are low, so you do not feel sleepy even though you have been resting for many hours. However, as the day progresses and you are awake, adenosine accumulates again, building up sleep pressure for the next night. Histamine is a neurotransmitter that plays an important role in maintaining wakefulness. During wakefulness, histamine-producing neurons in the hypothalamus are active, releasing histamine throughout the brain. Histamine promotes alertness and arousal. During sleep, particularly during deep sleep, histamine levels decrease. The reduction in histamine is thought to be important for allowing sleep to occur. Antihistamine medications, which block the effects of histamine, often cause drowsiness as a side effect. This is why many over-the-counter cold and allergy medications can make you sleepy. Orexin, also called hypocretin, is a neurotransmitter that plays an important role in maintaining wakefulness and in the regulation of sleep and wakefulness. Orexin is produced by neurons in the hypothalamus. During wakefulness, orexin-producing neurons are active. Orexin promotes wakefulness and maintains alertness. During sleep, orexin-producing neurons are largely quiet. Orexin levels are low during sleep. This reduction in orexin is important for allowing sleep to occur. Interestingly, a sleep disorder called narcolepsy is caused by the loss of orexin-producing neurons. People with narcolepsy cannot maintain wakefulness properly. They fall asleep involuntarily during the day. Melatonin, which we have discussed as a sleep-promoting hormone produced by the pineal gland, is also a neurotransmitter. Melatonin is produced primarily by the pineal gland, but it is also produced in smaller amounts by neurons in the brain and by cells throughout the body. Melatonin binds to receptors in the brain and body, and these receptors send signals that promote sleep. Melatonin also has antioxidant properties and plays roles in immune function. Melatonin production is regulated by light exposure, with light suppressing melatonin production and darkness promoting melatonin production. Prostaglandins are signaling molecules that play various roles in the body and brain. Certain prostaglandins promote sleep. Research has shown that levels of sleep-promoting prostaglandins increase during sleep. These prostaglandins may be involved in the promotion of sleep and in the regulation of the sleep-wake cycle. Interestingly, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, or NSAIDs, which block prostaglandin production, can interfere with sleep quality. The shifting pattern of neurotransmitter activity throughout sleep creates the different states of sleep. During the transition from wakefulness to sleep, norepinephrine and dopamine decrease, while GABA and serotonin increase. During deep sleep, acetylcholine remains low, allowing the consolidation of declarative memories. During REM sleep, acetylcholine increases again, while norepinephrine remains low. This combination of high acetylcholine and low norepinephrine creates the conditions for REM sleep and dreaming. Understanding the neurotransmitter basis of sleep has led to the development of medications that can promote sleep. However, it is important to understand that these medications work by mimicking the natural neurotransmitter systems that promote sleep. They are not creating a completely artificial state. Instead, they are enhancing or facilitating the natural sleep processes. Additionally, while these medications can be useful for treating sleep disorders, they do not provide all of the benefits of natural sleep. Medications that promote sleep often do not provide the same quality of sleep consolidation and restoration as natural sleep. The healing power of sleep cycles. Regeneration at the cellular level. Throughout the night, as you cycle through different stages of sleep multiple times, your body is engaged in profound healing and regeneration. Every stage of sleep serves specific functions. Deep sleep is crucial for physical restoration. REM sleep is crucial for emotional processing and certain types of learning. The cycling through these different stages multiple times throughout the night ensures that all of these functions are accomplished. Without this cycling, without the repetition of sleep stages throughout the night, your body would not receive the full benefit of sleep. During stage 3 sleep, your body engages in physical restoration and repair. Growth hormone levels are elevated, promoting the growth and repair of muscles, bones, and connective tissue. Your immune system is highly active, producing cytokines that fight infection and inflammation. Your cells are engaged in repair processes at the molecular level. Damaged proteins are being removed and replaced with new ones. Cellular organelles are being repaired. DNA damage is being corrected. All of these cellular repair processes are essential for maintaining your health and vitality. The physical restoration that occurs during deep sleep is particularly important for athletes and people who engage in regular physical activity. During intense physical activity, muscle fibers are damaged. This damage triggers a process of repair and growth. However, this repair and growth process is not completed during wakefulness. The actual synthesis of new muscle proteins and the repair of muscle damage occurs primarily during sleep, particularly during deep sleep. Without adequate deep sleep, your muscles cannot repair and grow properly. This is why athletes who get insufficient sleep do not recover well from training and do not improve as quickly as athletes who get adequate sleep. Your immune system also relies on sleep for proper function. During sleep, particularly during deep sleep, your body produces increased amounts of cytokines, which are signaling molecules that coordinate immune responses. These cytokines help your immune system fight off infections and reduce inflammation. If you are sleep deprived, your immune system cannot function optimally. You are more susceptible to infections. Wounds heal more slowly. Your body's ability to fight off illness is compromised. REM sleep is crucial for emotional processing and emotional regulation. During REM sleep, your brain is processing emotional memories and emotional reactions to events. The amygdala, which processes emotions, is highly active during REM sleep. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, which normally exerts rational control over emotions, is less active. This combination allows your brain to process emotions that might be difficult to process during wakefulness, when rational constraints are in place. This emotional processing during REM sleep is thought to be important for maintaining emotional health and resilience. Sleep deprivation has profound effects on emotional regulation. People who are sleep deprived are more irritable, more anxious, and more prone to mood swings. Their ability to regulate their emotions is impaired. Small frustrations that would normally be handled calmly become sources of anger. Situations that would normally be viewed rationally become sources of anxiety. This emotional dysregulation caused by sleep deprivation can have significant impacts on relationships and social functioning. The consolidation of procedural memories, memories of how to do things, occurs primarily during REM sleep. If you are learning a new motor skill, like playing a musical instrument or learning to play a sport, REM sleep is crucial for consolidating this learning. After a day of practice, the motor cortex of your brain has been active, forming new connections related to the skill. During REM sleep, these connections are consolidated and strengthened. Without adequate REM sleep, your motor learning is impaired. You do not improve as quickly at new motor skills. The cycling through different sleep stages throughout the night also allows your brain to accomplish multiple types of memory consolidation. During stage 2 and stage 3 sleep, declarative memories are consolidated. During REM sleep, procedural memories are consolidated. By cycling through these stages multiple times, your brain consolidates different types of memories. Additionally, the repeated cycling through these stages allows your brain to consolidate memories at different levels of detail and at different levels of abstraction. This multiple pass consolidation process is thought to be important for the development of deep understanding and for the integration of new information with existing knowledge. The duration of different sleep stages changes throughout the night in ways that optimize the functions accomplished during those stages. Deep sleep is concentrated in the early part of the night, when it is most needed for physical restoration after a day of activity. REM sleep is concentrated in the latter part of the night. This timing is adaptive. By the end of the night, your body has already been restored by deep sleep. The focus shifts to emotional processing and memory consolidation, functions that are accomplished during REM sleep. Temperature regulation during sleep also plays an important role in the healing functions of sleep. Your core body temperature is lower during sleep than during wakefulness. This reduction in body temperature is thought to reduce metabolic rate, allowing energy to be directed toward repair and restoration processes rather than toward maintaining high metabolic activity. Additionally, the lower body temperature may directly promote certain cellular repair processes. Some research suggests that lower temperatures enhance the efficiency of certain cellular repair mechanisms. Hormonal changes during sleep also contribute to healing and regeneration. Growth hormone, which is elevated during deep sleep, promotes tissue repair and growth. Testosterone levels, which are important for muscle growth and maintenance, are elevated during sleep, particularly during REM sleep. Cortisol, a stress hormone, is low during sleep. The reduction in cortisol during sleep may allow your body to direct energy toward healing rather than toward stress responses. Thyroid hormone levels also change during sleep, with changes that promote metabolism and energy production. Blood flow patterns also change during sleep in ways that support healing. During deep sleep, blood flow to the brain decreases compared to wakefulness. This reduction in blood flow to the brain may seem counterintuitive, but it reflects the fact that the brain is less active during deep sleep in some ways, even though it is accomplishing important functions. The reduced blood flow to the brain is accompanied by increased blood flow to other parts of the body, which may support physical restoration and repair. The repeated cycling through different sleep stages throughout the night also ensures that if you are briefly awakened during the night, you will still receive the benefits of different sleep stages. If you had only one cycle of sleep stages, being awakened during one stage would mean missing the benefits of that stage. By cycling through the stages multiple times, you receive multiple opportunities to accomplish the functions of each stage. This redundancy provides a buffer against disruption when neurons struggle. Understanding sleep disruptions. Gently sleep does not always come easily. For many people, sleep is a struggle. Insomnia, sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome, and numerous other sleep disorders disrupt the natural sleep processes we have been exploring. These disorders cause people to miss out on the restorative benefits of sleep. They cause daytime fatigue, cognitive impairment, and increased risk of various health problems. Understanding what goes wrong in these disorders can help us appreciate the delicate balance of neural and physiological processes that must occur for sleep to happen normally. Insomnia is characterized by difficulty falling asleep, difficulty staying asleep or waking too early, and being unable to return to sleep. From a neural perspective, insomnia involves a failure of the brain to transition properly from wakefulness to sleep. The neural systems that promote wakefulness remain active when they should be shutting down. The neural systems that promote sleep remain insufficiently active. This can be caused by various factors. Stress and anxiety activate the sympathetic nervous system, promoting wakefulness. Certain medications can interfere with sleep-promoting neurotransmitter systems. Chronic pain can activate pain-processing brain regions, making sleep difficult. Irregular sleep schedules can disrupt the circadian rhythm, making sleep difficult at the normal sleep time. Sleep apnea is a disorder in which breathing repeatedly stops and starts during sleep. This causes repeated brief awakenings, often without the person being aware that they are waking. Sleep apnea disrupts the normal progression through sleep stages. People with sleep apnea spend less time in deep sleep and REM sleep, and more time in light sleep or in a state of brief wakefulness. This means they are not getting the full restorative benefits of sleep. Sleep apnea is also associated with reduced oxygen levels during sleep, which can damage neurons and affect brain function. Sleep apnea is also associated with increased risk of cardiovascular disease and stroke. Restless leg syndrome is a disorder characterized by an irresistible urge to move the legs, particularly at night. This urge to move disrupts sleep, causing frequent awakenings. From a neural perspective, restless leg syndrome appears to involve dysfunction in neural systems that regulate motor control and reward. Dopamine-producing neurons in certain brain regions may not be functioning properly. This leads to abnormal motor impulses and an irresistible urge to move. Narcolepsy is a disorder characterized by excessive daytime sleepiness and sudden attacks of sleep during the day. People with narcolepsy may suddenly fall asleep in the middle of an activity, without warning. Narcolepsy is caused by the loss of neurons that produce orexin, the neurotransmitter that maintains wakefulness. Without adequate orexin, the neural systems that maintain wakefulness cannot function properly. People with narcolepsy also often experience cataplexy, a sudden loss of muscle tone triggered by emotions like laughter or surprise. Cataplexy is thought to be caused by the inappropriate activation of the neural systems that produce muscle atonia during REM sleep. Circadian rhythm disorders occur when the circadian rhythm is desynchronized from the external environment or when the circadian rhythm is disrupted. Shift work sleep disorder occurs in people who work night shifts or rotating shifts. Their circadian rhythm remains set to their normal sleep time, but their work schedule requires them to be awake at unusual times. This mismatch between the circadian rhythm and the work schedule causes poor sleep quality. Delayed sleep phase disorder occurs when a person's circadian rhythm is delayed, causing them to naturally fall asleep later and wake later than the normal social schedule. Advanced sleep phase disorder occurs when a person's circadian rhythm is advanced, causing them to naturally fall asleep earlier and wake earlier than the normal social schedule. Sleep deprivation, whether caused by a sleep disorder or by voluntary sleep restriction, has profound effects on brain function. Sleep-deprived people show impaired attention, impaired memory formation, and impaired decision-making. Sleep deprivation activates the stress response, increasing cortisol and other stress hormones. Sleep deprivation also impairs immune function, making people more susceptible to infections. With chronic sleep deprivation, there is increased risk of obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and other health problems. Sleep deprivation also affects emotional regulation. Sleep-deprived people are more irritable and more prone to anxiety and depression. The amygdala, which processes emotions, shows increased reactivity in sleep-deprived people. The prefrontal cortex, which normally exerts control over emotions, shows reduced activity. This combination leads to emotional dysregulation. Interestingly, sleep deprivation also affects the ability to recognize impairment. Sleep-deprived people often underestimate how impaired they are. They think they are functioning better than they actually are. This is why driving while sleep-deprived is so dangerous. People who are sleep-deprived think they are capable of driving safely, when in fact their reaction times are slowed and their attention is impaired. Many factors can contribute to sleep disruption. Stress and anxiety are major contributors. When you are stressed or anxious, your sympathetic nervous system is activated, promoting wakefulness. Your mind races with worries and concerns. It is difficult to quiet your thoughts enough to fall asleep. Chronic stress can lead to chronic sleep problems. Caffeine and other stimulants can disrupt sleep. Caffeine blocks the effects of adenosine, the sleep-promoting substance. If you consume caffeine in the afternoon or evening, it can interfere with sleep at night. Alcohol can also disrupt sleep. While alcohol may initially make you drowsy, it disrupts sleep architecture, reducing the amount of deep sleep and REM sleep. Environmental factors can also disrupt sleep. Noise can cause repeated awakenings. Light, particularly blue light from electronic devices, can suppress melatonin production and delay sleep onset. Temperature that is too warm or too cold can disrupt sleep. An irregular sleep schedule can disrupt the circadian rhythm and make sleep difficult. Understanding the neural basis of sleep disorders has led to the development of treatments. Cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia is effective in helping people with insomnia. This therapy involves identifying and changing thoughts and behaviors that interfere with sleep. Sleep medications can help people fall asleep and stay asleep, though they do not provide all of the benefits of natural sleep. CPAP machines can help people with sleep apnea by keeping airways open during sleep. Understanding the causes of sleep disruption can help people make changes to improve their sleep. The bridge between sleep and wakefulness. Morning neural transitions. The night has passed. Your brain has cycled through multiple complete sleep cycles. Deep sleep has restored your body. REM sleep has processed your emotions and consolidated memories. The glymphatic system has cleared waste from your brain. The restorative work of sleep is complete. Now, as morning approaches, another profound neural transformation begins. Your brain must transition from sleep to wakefulness. This transition is not instantaneous. It is a gradual process that occurs over minutes, orchestrated by your circadian rhythm and involving coordinated changes in multiple neural systems. As morning approaches, your circadian rhythm begins to shift toward promoting wakefulness. The suprachiasmatic nucleus, responding to the approaching dawn, begins to reduce its inhibition of norepinephrine-producing neurons in the locus coeruleus. Norepinephrine levels begin to increase. Simultaneously, the SCN reduces its promotion of melatonin production. Melatonin levels begin to decrease. Cortisol production begins to increase. Your body temperature begins to rise. These changes create a neural and physiological state that is conducive to wakefulness. As norepinephrine levels increase, neurons throughout your brain become more responsive. The thalamus shifts from the burst mode of firing, which characterizes sleep, back to the tonic mode of firing, which characterizes wakefulness. In tonic mode, thalamic neurons fire continuously, relaying incoming sensory information to the cortex. This gradual increase in sensory relay is part of what makes you gradually aware of your environment as you awaken. You begin to hear sounds. You begin to feel the texture of your bedding. You begin to become aware of your body. Your brain waves also shift during this transition. The slow delta waves that dominated during deep sleep gradually give way to faster theta waves, and then to faster alpha waves and beta waves. The desynchronized pattern of wakefulness gradually returns. Different brain regions begin to fire asynchronously again, rather than in the synchronized patterns of sleep. This shift in brainwave patterns is accompanied by a shift in consciousness. Your awareness of your surroundings gradually increases. Your thoughts become more organized. Your attention becomes more focused. Acetylcholine levels also increase during the transition from sleep to wakefulness. Acetylcholine promotes attention and arousal. As acetylcholine levels increase, your brain becomes more responsive to incoming sensory information. You become more aware of your surroundings. Your attention becomes more focused. Your ability to think clearly begins to improve. The parasympathetic nervous system, which was dominant during sleep and promoted rest and relaxation, gradually gives way to the sympathetic nervous system, which promotes arousal and readiness for action. Your heart rate increases. Your blood pressure increases. Your breathing becomes faster and deeper. Your muscle tone increases. Your body shifts from a state of rest to a state of readiness for activity. One of the most important hormones involved in the morning transition is cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone that is low during sleep and increases during the morning. Cortisol levels typically peak about 30 minutes after you wake up. This peak in cortisol is called the cortisol awakening response. Cortisol promotes alertness and arousal. It increases blood glucose levels, providing energy for the day. Cortisol also has anti-inflammatory effects, which can help to reduce the inflammation that accumulated during sleep. However, chronically elevated cortisol levels can have negative health effects. It is the pattern of cortisol levels that is important, with low levels during sleep and elevated levels during the day. The transition from sleep to wakefulness is also influenced by light exposure. When light enters your eyes in the morning, it is detected by photoreceptors in your retina, including the intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells. These cells send signals to the suprachiasmatic nucleus, signaling that it is daytime. This light signal reinforces the circadian rhythm's shift toward promoting wakefulness. Additionally, light has direct effects on alertness. Light exposure increases alertness and can counteract sleepiness even before the circadian rhythm has fully shifted. Your body temperature also plays a role in the morning transition. Your core body temperature has been low during sleep. As morning approaches, your body temperature gradually increases. This increase in body temperature is part of the process of transitioning to wakefulness. Higher body temperature is associated with wakefulness. Lower body temperature is associated with sleep. This is why taking a warm shower or bath can help wake you up in the morning. The warm water causes your body temperature to increase, which promotes wakefulness. The duration of the transition from sleep to wakefulness is typically about 5 to 10 minutes. However, the duration can vary depending on various factors. If you wake up gradually, as happens on a day off when you have no time pressure, the transition can be longer. If you wake up suddenly, as happens when an alarm goes off, the transition can be abrupt. If you are sleep deprived, the transition may be slower and more difficult. Some people experience sleep inertia, a state of grogginess and disorientation that persists for several minutes after waking. Sleep inertia is thought to reflect the fact that different parts of the brain wake up at different rates. Some parts of the brain wake up quickly, while others remain in a sleep-like state longer. Interestingly, the transition from sleep to wakefulness is not simply a reversal of the transition from wakefulness to sleep. The neural systems and neurotransmitters involved are not simply turned on and off. Instead, there are complex interactions between multiple systems. For example, the reduction in acetylcholine that occurs as you fall asleep is not simply reversed as you wake up. Instead, acetylcholine increases gradually, and its increase is coordinated with the increase in norepinephrine and other neurotransmitters. Your dreams often become more vivid and more easily remembered just before you wake up. This is because the final sleep cycles of the night are dominated by REM sleep. and you are more likely to awaken during or just after REM sleep. The vivid dreams you remember in the morning are typically REM sleep dreams. This is also why some people find that if they set an alarm for just before their normal waking time, they can catch themselves in a dream and remember the dream more clearly. The morning transition is also a time when your brain consolidates memories from the night. As your brain transitions from sleep to wakefulness, the memories that were consolidated during sleep are being integrated with your waking consciousness. You do not consciously experience this consolidation process, but the memories that were stored during sleep become accessible to your waking mind. Integration and wisdom. How sleep shapes your consciousness. Sleep does more than simply restore your body and consolidate memories. Sleep fundamentally shapes your consciousness. It shapes how you think, how you feel, how you perceive the world, and how you understand yourself. Over the long term, the patterns of sleep you get, the quality of sleep you get, and the consistency of your sleep schedule shape your personality, your emotional resilience, your creativity, and your wisdom. The person you are is in many ways a product of your sleep. During sleep, your brain is not simply storing information. It is reorganizing information. It is extracting patterns from the vast amount of data it has encountered. It is making connections between seemingly unrelated pieces of information. It is creating new associations and new insights. This process of pattern extraction and reorganization during sleep is thought to be the basis of creativity and insight. Many creative breakthroughs occur after sleep, when your brain has had time to reorganize information and make new connections. Artists, scientists, and writers often report that solutions to creative problems come to them during sleep or immediately after waking. This is not coincidence. During sleep, your brain is actively engaged in the kind of associative thinking that leads to creative breakthroughs. Your brain is making novel connections between memories and ideas. It is reorganizing information in new ways. When you wake up, these new associations and reorganizations are available to your conscious mind, allowing you to see solutions that were not apparent before. Sleep also plays an important role in the development of wisdom. Wisdom involves the integration of knowledge from diverse sources, the ability to see connections between different domains of knowledge, and the ability to apply knowledge appropriately in different contexts. All of these aspects of wisdom depend on sleep. Sleep is the time when information from diverse sources is integrated. Sleep is the time when connections between different domains of knowledge are made. Sleep is the time when knowledge is reorganized in ways that allow it to be applied flexibly in different contexts. Your emotional wisdom is also shaped by sleep. During sleep, particularly during REM sleep, your brain is processing emotional memories and emotional reactions to events. Through this processing, your brain is learning how to regulate emotions, how to respond appropriately to emotional situations, and how to maintain emotional balance. People who sleep well tend to have better emotional regulation and better emotional resilience. People who are sleep deprived tend to be more reactive emotionally and have more difficulty regulating emotions. Sleep also shapes your sense of self. Your sense of who you are, your identity, is constructed from your memories and your understanding of your past experiences. Sleep plays a crucial role in consolidating and integrating these memories. Through the consolidation of memories during sleep, your brain is constantly updating your understanding of who you are and what your life means. Your sense of self is not static. It is constantly being updated and refined based on new experiences and new sleep-mediated consolidation of these experiences. The consistency of your sleep also shapes your consciousness. People who have consistent sleep schedules, who go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, tend to have better sleep quality and better daytime functioning. Their circadian rhythm is synchronized with their sleep schedule, creating optimal conditions for sleep. This consistency also creates a sense of rhythm and structure in their lives, which can contribute to overall well-being and sense of control. In contrast, people with irregular sleep schedules, who go to bed at different times and wake up at different times, tend to have poorer sleep quality and worse daytime functioning. Their circadian rhythm is not synchronized with their sleep schedule. This can lead to chronic circadian rhythm disruption, which has numerous negative health and cognitive effects. Additionally, the lack of consistency in sleep schedule can contribute to a sense of chaos and lack of control in their lives. Over the long term, The cumulative effects of sleep on consciousness are profound. Someone who consistently gets high-quality sleep over many years will have developed strong emotional regulation, good emotional resilience, good creativity, good problem-solving abilities, and good wisdom. Their brain will have had many opportunities to consolidate and integrate memories, to make new connections, to reorganize information. In contrast, someone who is chronically sleep-deprived over many years will show gradual cognitive decline, emotional dysregulation, reduced creativity, and impaired judgment. Sleep also shapes your consciousness in terms of your ability to focus attention and maintain concentration. Sleep-deprived people have difficulty focusing attention. Their attention wanders. They are easily distracted. In contrast, people who are well-rested have excellent attention control. They can focus on a task for extended periods without becoming distracted. This difference in attention control has profound implications for learning, productivity, and quality of life. Your sense of meaning and purpose is also shaped by sleep. During sleep, your brain is not just consolidating factual information. It is also processing the emotional significance of events and the meaning of your experiences. Through this processing during sleep, your brain is constantly updating your understanding of what is important to you, what matters to you, and what gives your life meaning. People who sleep well tend to have a strong sense of meaning and purpose. People who are sleep-deprived tend to feel that their lives are less meaningful and purposeful. Sleep also shapes your consciousness in terms of your sense of connection to others. During sleep, your brain is processing social memories and social emotions. Your brain is consolidating memories of interactions with other people. This consolidation of social memories contributes to your sense of connection to others and your ability to navigate social relationships effectively. People who sleep well tend to have better social relationships and a stronger sense of connection to others. People who are sleep-deprived tend to have more difficulty with social relationships and feel more isolated. The transformative power of sleep on consciousness is often underappreciated. We tend to think of sleep as a time when nothing happens, a time when consciousness is suspended. But in reality, sleep is a time of intense neural activity, a time when your brain is doing some of its most important work. Sleep is the time when your brain is most actively engaged in the processes that make you who you are, that shape your personality, your emotional life, your creativity, and your wisdom. Without sleep, these processes cannot occur. Without sleep, you cannot become the person you are capable of becoming. Your personal journey, honoring the miracle within you, every night. Here we arrive at the end of our journey through the neural landscape of sleep. Yet in many ways we are at a beginning. We have explored the science, the mechanisms, the intricate dance of neurons and neurotransmitters that occurs each night. We have learned how your brain transitions from wakefulness to sleep, how it cycles through different stages of sleep, how it consolidates memories and processes emotions, how it clears itself of toxins and repairs itself at the cellular level. We have learned that sleep is not downtime. Sleep is one of the most active and important periods of your life. Now, as we conclude this exploration, I invite you to consider what this knowledge means for you personally. Every single night, when you close your eyes and surrender to sleep, something miraculous occurs within you. Billions of neurons begin a coordinated dance that has been refined through millions of years of evolution. Your brain shifts from the rapid-fire activity of wakefulness to the synchronized rhythms of sleep. Your body enters a state of profound relaxation, while your brain remains intensely active, engaged in the work of restoration and healing. Every night, your brain clears itself of toxins, consolidates memories, processes emotions, reorganizes information, and prepares itself for the next day. This miracle occurs without any conscious effort on your part. You need not understand the mechanisms for them to work. You need not be aware of the processes for them to accomplish their functions. Your brain knows what to do, yet by understanding these processes, by becoming conscious of the miracle that occurs each night, you gain something precious. You gain an appreciation for the gift of sleep. You gain an understanding of why sleep is so important. You gain insight into the connection between sleep and your daytime functioning, your emotional health, your creativity, your relationships, and your overall well-being. With this understanding comes the motivation to prioritize sleep, to make sleep a cornerstone of your health and wellness. If you struggle with sleep, if sleep does not come easily to you, I invite you to approach this struggle with compassion and understanding. Your brain is trying to do what it is designed to do. The difficulty may be that the conditions for sleep are not optimal. Perhaps stress is activating your sympathetic nervous system. Perhaps your circadian rhythm is disrupted. Perhaps your sleep environment is not conducive to sleep. Perhaps caffeine or other substances are interfering with sleep. Whatever the cause, understanding the mechanisms of sleep can help you identify what might be interfering with sleep and what changes might help. If you are fortunate enough to sleep well, I invite you to honor this gift. Do not take sleep for granted. Appreciate the miracle that occurs each night. Maintain the habits and practices that support good sleep. Keep a consistent sleep schedule. Maintain a dark, cool, quiet sleep environment. Avoid caffeine and other stimulants in the late afternoon and evening. Manage stress and anxiety. Exercise regularly, but not too close to bedtime. These simple practices support the natural sleep processes that your brain is designed to perform. I'd like to know, where are you listening from? And what time is it there? Your location and time help us understand where our community finds peace and when they seek deeper understanding. The relationship between you and your sleep is a personal one. Your sleep is unique to you. Your sleep needs may differ from others. Your optimal sleep schedule may differ from others. Your sleep challenges may be unique to your circumstances. Yet at the deepest level, the processes occurring in your brain during sleep are the same for all of us. We are all connected by the miracle of sleep, by the common experience of this nightly journey into the depths of consciousness and restoration. As you continue your life, as you navigate the challenges and joys that come your way, remember the power of sleep. Remember that sleep is not an indulgence. Sleep is not something to be sacrificed for productivity or achievement. Sleep is an essential foundation for everything you do, everything you think, everything you feel. Sleep is the time when your brain consolidates what you have learned, processes what you have experienced, and prepares itself for what comes next. Sleep is the time when your body repairs itself, restores itself, and prepares itself for the next day. Sleep is the time when you become most deeply yourself. Every night, when you lie down to sleep, you are embarking on a journey. You are entering a realm that is both deeply personal and universally human. You are participating in a process that connects you to every human being who has ever lived, to every animal that sleeps, to the vast processes of nature and evolution that have created and refined sleep over millions of years. In sleep, you are both utterly alone and deeply connected to all of life. In sleep, you touch something profound and sacred. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the neural landscape of sleep. If this experience has brought you inner peace, has sparked your curiosity, has deepened your appreciation for the miracle that occurs each night, I would be grateful for a like and a subscription to Relaxing Science. Your support helps us continue to create content that combines science with contemplation and relaxation. Also, please let us know if you would like to see more content exploring the mysteries of the brain, the body, and consciousness. Your feedback helps us understand what brings you peace and what sparks your curiosity. As you drift towards sleep tonight, or whenever sleep comes for you, carry with you the knowledge of what is occurring within you. Carry with you the appreciation for the billions of neurons working in perfect coordination to restore you. Carry with you the understanding that sleep is not merely a time when nothing happens. Sleep is a time of profound activity, a time of healing and growth and transformation. Sleep is a gift. Sleep is a miracle. Sleep is the foundation of everything you are and everything you can become. May your sleep tonight be deep and restorative. May your dreams be vivid and meaningful. May you wake tomorrow refreshed and renewed, ready to engage fully with life. May you honor the miracle within you, the miracle that occurs each night when you close your eyes and surrender to sleep. Welcome this miracle. Appreciate this miracle. Protect this miracle by prioritizing the sleep that your brain and body need. And know that in doing so, you are honoring not just yourself, but the vast evolutionary wisdom that has created and refined sleep over millions of years. This is the end of our exploration, yet it is also a beginning. Each night when you sleep, you begin anew. Each night, your brain consolidates what you have learned, and prepares for what comes next. Each night you are transformed. Each night you become more fully yourself. Honor this journey, protect this journey, celebrate this journey. For in the depths of sleep lies the foundation of all that you are and all that you can become. Thank you for allowing me to guide you through this exploration. May you find peace in sleep and wisdom in waking.